Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RC Groups, and today we're looking at some FPV products from Ready Made RC. This is the Pro Pan and Tilt. This is all carbon fiber, nicely cut, pops together easily. When you do pop it together, make sure everything is in the right place before you lay down your medium CA. You don't want to lock it in if you've got something turned around backwards, which you can do. Also, the base plate on this is great because it supports your camera, unlike some that are supported by the servo itself. Also, make sure your servo is lined up with the hole in the gear that meshes with the white gear in the base right there. Very important. Also, I suggest you go ahead and get the upgraded servos. I upgraded the servo on the base unit just because I felt like it needed a heavier servo than that 9-gram servo at the top. This thing's running 90 degrees. You can get a servo extender and go 360, which I intend to do for our we're flying now with 2 or 3 planes in the air, and I'm always looking around to see where they're at. I think it works great. It definitely was an upgrade over what I was using. It sits a little taller than my old unit, but carbon fiber, totally solid, really well put together, well thought out unit, I think. So it also has better bushings, and it turns in a more fluid manner than my older pan and tilt. It's made for the Pro 700N FPV camera, which is what we're about to look at now. Tim at Ready Made says he thinks this was one of the best FPV cameras on the market. An interesting note is that it has 960 horizontal pixels. Of course, we know the standard definition video that you use in FPV can only resolve 700, but I felt like it was a definite upgrade from my old Fat Shark FPV cam. It felt like I went HD in the goggles. So let's look at some specs on this. I put together just some key notes. We have 1024 by 596 pixels, 700 TVL, 3.6 optic lens, on-screen controls for camera parameters, and that's built into the back of the camera, which is unique. Integrated line level microphone, which worked great for me. 1.3 ounces, and the size I think is super small, 30 by 30. The smallest I've ever had is a 25 by 25, so that's awesome. Here's a shot of the back where you see the integrated menu, which of course the Pro Pan and Tilt is made for this camera, so it has a cutout so you can access those controls. And I just think overall these two things together are a great package. So let's look at the menu items that this offers up. You get into the menu by pressing the center button, and that brings you into this. You control it with, it's pretty obvious, the top button, bottom button, up and down, right and left. Bring you into the other settings. And I wanted to say that Tim from Ready Made ships these in a default mode that they feel is the best general overall settings for this camera. So when you get it, I mean, I know some of us can't not tweak what we get, and I'm sure I'll tweak a little bit, but when you get it, you get what Tim thinks is the best settings for this camera. So some settings have 1 or 2 choices, some have multiple choices. You can press that center button and that will bring you into a menu like this. So you can go in and tweak all these things, and then you go all the way down to return, hit the center button again, and that's how you get back to your main menu and get back into this. So we have a mirror here that would allow us to flip things over, which here we go. You can also flip them horizontally, I believe, and then go back to normal. So there are tons of options in the menu. So I'm going to jump on out of here. Once again, you can access this from the back of the camera at any time. Let's say you're in your goggles and you needed to crank up the contrast or brightness or something like that. You can just work the camera while it's on your plane, while it's mounted, make those tweaks while you're in there. When you exit, you have to save all. If you don't, none of the changes you made will save. Then you hit return, and then you will jump out. So now we're looking at some flight footage. This is using the Pro Pan and Tilt and the Pro 700N. And we are doing a little FPV flying here in Nashville, Tennessee. It was kind of it was sunny, but it was also a little overcast, a little cloudy at the same time. And I have a little jello here from my prop. But going from my Fat Shark $49 pan and tilt unit to this, definitely, I mean, the second I put the goggles on, I was like, boy, it just seemed to be more defined to me, and just a step up. I also want to point out that what you're seeing was recorded by my DVR, so this was pretty much what I was seeing in my goggles at the time. So for me, this was a giant leap from what I had before with my old Fat Shark pan and tilt, and the clarity and the difference in what I was seeing through my goggles was pretty big for me. So that's it. We have been looking at the Pro 700N from Ready Made RC. You can find it on their site. You can search PRO 700 and you'll find the page. And I want to thank Tim for sending me the unit and also for sending me the pan and tilt. For some reason, I have some weird thing. I really dig pan and tilt. And so this carbon fiber one is the coolest I've had my hands on so far. Big fan. Very easy to put together. It certainly wasn't an issue of any kind. So I hope this has helped you, and I appreciate y'all watching the video. Please subscribe so you can see what comes up next time on rcgroups.com.